So I was going to talk about parking today. West Palm Beach is right among the top places to park in a survey. And actually, I was just looking at this, and they did the top 10. And of the top 10, 4 are in Florida: Jacksonville, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach. So that's sort of interesting, right?
Where's West Palm rated?
It looks like 9.
What is that based upon?
Well, it's that's a really good question. It's partly based on the price of parking, and both long-term and short-term parking, and it's also based on motor vehicle theft, if your car is safe when you park it. So it's pretty cool. Who did it?
Yeah.
NerdWallet. Is that who did it? I don't know.
That's the website.
Yeah, that's the website, nerdwallet.com. Top 10 based on low cost of parking and low, how much city's motor vehicle theft rate is below the national average. That's cool.
When they were in New York and Chicago and Boston.
I think, we forget, I've lived in New York and I've lived in Boston, and I know what it costs to park in those places. And when we hear people complaining about $2 or $5, I'm like, yeah.
I had to walk the block.
$55 to go park in New York City for an evening. No. But that's all I have. What questions you have?
How's the search for a new police chief?
It's okay. Yeah, we'll firm it up in the next few weeks, and we'll let you know.
Is there a next few weeks kind of the idea at this point? I know last time it was like a month, but is everything going to plan at this point?
As far as I know, yes.
Has there been a good reaction from? I know we were looking internally, but as far as once this job opens up, the outside candidates.
Yeah, I've gotten emails and letters and Facebook notes from people who say, please think about me when you're filling the position. So people, that's an attractive place to work, so we have had some people respond. We haven't actually posted the opening yet, but we've had responses.
Is the game plan still the same that you would like to internally find candidates?
Very much so.
When does the current police chief, end his term?
I think next week, next Thursday.
So there won't be any overlap at all?
No. And we have an interim who will take over while we're making the decision.
Can you tell us a little about the police radios? I saw that there was a new contract put out on that for an additional $5 million.
Well, what we did is, it's not really a new contract. We continued our contract with the consortium. The consortium contracts with Harris to provide radio service. So we have renegotiated our contract with Harris and with the consortium so that we have a new P25 system, which is what we've wanted for a few years at this point. So we'll be moving forward with a new P25 system, Harris system through the consortium. It's $5 million, around $5 million for the radio system, which would have typically been probably 10 to 12 million. But because we'd already put about $5 million into the system previously, we were able to get some discounted costs as a result.
Is that $5 million at one time, or is it paid out over a period of time?
It's paid out over a period of time. We will not pay in full until we know that the system is working the way we want. Several guarantees are built into our agreement in terms of coverage, and once we have attained those levels, then we'll completely pay them, but it's paid out over time.
So we can expect to see new police radios in the cruisers and on the person on the police?
They're on the belt radios.
Do they still use radios in the cars, like connect, I mean, I know we all had phones in our cars 20 years ago, and now they're all in our belt. Do they still have them connected in the car and on their belt?
I don't know the answer to that, actually. I think they do have, do you know? I don't know the answer to that.
What's the timetable?
We think it'll be about 15 months to full implementation.
And, you know, I'm still catching up on all of this, but one of the things I wasn't clear on is West Palm put in some money of its own up front. And are you gonna ask the consortium to pay you back some of the initial investment? Are you
Well,
gonna try to spread the cost?
Our initial investment for the open sky system was about $5 million. They pretty much gave us credit, Harris gave us credit for the $5 million. That's why our cost is only about $5 million for the complete radio system. So they're building on what we've already paid in, so.
And then the rest is being distributed, the cost is being distributed among the other?
Well,
members?
we're the only ones using the P25 system. The open sky costs are distributed among the other members of the consortium. We will be paying the open sky costs because or the P25 costs because we're the only ones on the P25 system. Now, should another entity decide to go P25 and be a part of consortium, then we'll be able to look at how we can share costs. The Open Sky, you know, just to rehash, the Open Sky was not working for us. We had considerable issues where it wasn't working, particularly in our buildings downtown, where you need a stronger decibel level to get through the construction of the buildings downtown. And so we did not want to continue on Open Sky, and we wanted to go to the P25 system. Open Sky is a proprietary system. P25 is an open system. P25 is basically a set of standards that was established by the federal government for public safety radios, and we'll be in very good shape once we get on the P25. Open Sky was unpredictable. And we didn't feel like it would, it certainly didn't serve our purposes here.
While I was out of town, there was a comment about baseball, about you guys talking to a couple of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, we have talked to the Nationals and we've talked to the Astros. And we continue to talk about the Haverhill site. Ultimately, it will rest with the county as to what direction they want to go in. But the Haverhill site is available, and we would be willing to work with whomever to make that happen.
The county said, I guess yesterday, that they pretty much eliminated the John Prince site.
I saw that.
Which is, I guess, bad news for Lake Worth, but that might help you guys in terms of
I think the
competition.
Haverhill site has preference with the teams, so I don't know what kind of sway that has with the county. But it's a big site. The other sites weren't quite big enough for them. And I think we can work with them to get also what we want to get out of in terms of serving the community. There was some talk about having some kind of a recreational facility there, or at least opportunities. So, I think because it's such a big site, we can probably do what we need to do there.
Would you like to see the county go in with you, so to speak, in terms of putting up some incentives for teams? In other words, the idea being that the county will benefit as well as the city, and maybe they'll throw in some incentives, and I don't know if...
Well, I think, the ownership and the financing has to come from the county. We have land that we can talk about, but from what I understand, and we're researching this, if the county owns it, if the city owns it, the city would have to pay county and school board taxes. And that was the way it worked a few years ago. Now, it may have changed, and we'll look into that. If the county owns it, obviously that's not the case. So, we really don't want to own it, but, we have a piece of land that we can use as a bargaining.
So would an option be to actually sell it or deed it to the county and maybe have some kind of a sharing deal where you get some kickback?
We're looking at
Bad
all.
word.
Yeah.
The
We're
legal equivalent of
Well,
kickback.
we haven't really gotten to that level of detail. I think there are lots of options for us to consider.
When you talk about serving the community, what exactly would you want for this deal to go through? Obviously, the teams want the land, but what does the city want?
Well, how can we use it when they're not using it? Because they only use it, how many weeks in a year? 14 weeks, I think. So could the city use the facility for community events or community recreation? Could we add, have a room for soccer field somewhere or something like that? Now, they were even talking about grassed parking so that when there wasn't parking, the grass could be used as a field or something like that. So, all of that we're looking at.
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say, just how serious does it appear that these talks are, that, the possibility that you could have spring training in West Palm Beach?
I think it really rests with the county, so it's really hard for me to answer that.
Would you consider allowing a minor league team to go in there and play, have a whole season?
Gosh, we haven't really talked about that, so something we'd think about. It's important for the county to have at least one more team because of the agreement with the folks at Roger Dean, the Marlins, and the Cardinals. Boy, I'm getting better at this. I don't know the first thing about baseball, so. I know that they have a 3-team agreement. If we got a 2-team stadium here, 2 teams in Jupiter, and then up the coast for the Mets, then this would be a very attractive spring training visit. And from what I understand, the people who follow spring training, they go to a place where they can see multiple teams. I guess in Arizona, you can see 8 teams in a day. To do that in Florida or anywhere else, it'd take a week. Yeah. Although I can't imagine why you'd want to go to 8 baseball games in a day, but.
Did you say you did?
Anything else you can tell us about the flea market?
No, I know that the nuisance abatement, I think, is tomorrow night. We'll see where we go with that. We did look at the numbers in terms of the percentage that we own and not we own, that's in West Palm Beach, the percentage that's in Mangonia. And it's really more 75-25. I don't know where the 7% number came up at one point, but Mangonia has about 25% of the property in their city.
And then with the nuisance abatement board, they're gonna look at, just talk a little bit about what exactly that meeting is about.
Well, they're going to look at whether or not the recommendations that they gave to the flea market in terms of cleaning up have been implemented and the extent to which they've been implemented.
If they aren't, where the process, as far as say they aren't, they see, do they have the process that tomorrow night they could shut that place down? Do they have the power to do that?
They do have the power to do that. That's not to say that's what's going to happen, but the nuisance abatement board does have the power to shut a place down for, I think, a year, from what I understand.
All aboard Florida. We seem to have gone through in the last year and a half, a love fest where everybody was all excited about it, and now it seems like people north of here have just woken up and said, oh my God, we're going to have all these trains coming through here, the world is going to come to an end. Now, obviously, in West Palm Beach, this is going to be a tremendous economic driver when the station opens here. Do you have any thoughts about the opposition up there? Is there anything that the city can or should do to communicate with them up there of how important it is for our economic well-being here?
Well, we continue to be very optimistic and positive about All Aboard Florida. I did go to a meeting a couple of weeks ago that was called by Congresswoman Frankel And there were several people there from the county, and I don't recall if there were people from the north there, but certainly north part of our county. And, you know, they have, certainly have legitimate concerns. We all want quiet zones, and we need to make sure that that moves forward. We, however, in West Palm Beach, we're going to get the benefit of having a station in our downtown. They're going to get probably limited benefit and still have to deal with the noise and the congestion. So I understand where they're coming from. I think you know, it will also prove to be a benefit to their residents as well. So if you live in Boynton, or if you live in Delray, if you live in Jupiter, and you want to get down to Miami or go to Orlando, you just have a 20-minute drive to downtown West Palm Beach, and you can hop on the train. So I think you need to, I think there are benefits. Certainly, we're lucky to have the station here.
I have a request, let me pull this up, apologies. This is from a colleague. The idea of making Okeechobee east of 95 a more walkable, or into like a multi-way boulevard, I guess that idea has been floated around. From what I understand, just your thoughts on that?
We had Jeff Speck here. Jeff Speck wrote a really outstanding book called Walkable Cities. A couple of years ago, we also hosted the Center for New Urbanism conference here. One of the focuses of both Jeff Speck and CNU and our downtown is how do we make Okeechobee more walkable. So any effort to do that, I would applaud and would like to be a part of. We will be hearing probably maybe I think in May, we're going to be hearing the recommendations from Mr. Speck. Will be presented to the City Commission, and one of them will include ideas about Okeechobee Boulevard. Right now, it's particular concern in terms of the congestion, the traffic congestion, but getting across Okeechobee, like if you're in the new Convention Center Hotel and you want to go to City Place to enjoy the amenities there, crossing Okeechobee is difficult at best. So we've heard a lot of proposals from experts on urban walkability who say you just need to do something about Okeechobee Boulevard, and I would be very supportive of anything we could do.
Would you consider, I'm sorry,
Oh, no.
would you consider a big catwalk? And if so, who would pay for it?
I don't love that idea.
It would be an eyesore, but it would be beneficial. But
It would be, but I just think I want people on the street and, being a part of the street culture, and, I mean, that's always an option. But there have been all kinds of suggestions, and if you read Mr. Speck's work, he really talks about traffic a lot and how to make a city walkable but still be friendly to traffic and not congesting it. So there's research on if you narrow lanes, people are like, oh my gosh, you narrow lanes, that's going to be horrible. Well, that doesn't really happen. If you put parking on Okeechobee, it would be more of a more friendly kind of road. So we're open. I don't know where you heard that or where it came from, but anybody who wants to talk about making Okeechobee Boulevard more walkable, we're right there with them.
So that's something definitely just on the mindset of the city, and then
Absolutely.
I guess next month when Mr. Speck comes back, that would really be where the ball would potentially start to get rolling.
Yeah.
Now, you're really talking east of Tamarind, right? Not east of 95. I mean, between 95 and
Well, I guess
Tamarind,
we're talking
where would you walk to?
around,
It's all water.
I guess the new hotel coming in there.
Yeah, it's east of Tamarind is most of it, but I would say even west of Tamarind, because you've got the Marriott. We want people to be able to walk easily from the Marriott to City Place or wherever.
Sure.
And then, the entrance from 95 is beautiful, and it would be great to walk along that. And there's actually a viewing platform if you west of Tamarind but east of 95. So as you walk along there, you could stop and appreciate the beauty of the lakes. And
Is that city property?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Good place for a tiki bar.
That would be interesting. So yeah, we would support any discussion of making it more walkable.
Anything else? Great, thank you.